And not too much for him.
And who was that again?
That is Space Jesus Exist. That is my favorite song out at this moment.
Very nice, very nice. And that's on SoundCloud?
And it would be on SoundCloud, yes it is.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We are Turnup, Iowa. I am Turnup, Iowa. We are at the Turner Studio Loft with a good friend of mine, Mr. Tony Romeo.
Howdy.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good. Thanks
Just
for
a little
being here.
tired after this 2.5 hour setup. But it's very beautiful. Beautiful basement.
Yep. I appreciate you being patient. Mr. Romeo sat through the mixer hookup and the software download
of a computer that didn't work. And then so we switched computers to a different computer.
No, yeah, it was pretty bad.
We have 3 computers now.
It was amateur hour in the Turner studio for Romeo. But thanks for being here.
Yep, we got it taken care of.
Yep, it's good. First episode. So we're gonna have some mistakes and
good
some
times.
Yeah, and you're just
it's
gonna
what
have
I like to call them.
Yep. So some craziness going on. I don't know. Some craziness going on in the world and the country right now. Less than a week ago in Orlando, some shootings, some craziness. 50 people killed by some psycho.
Oh man, they're everywhere now. You know the funny part about it, which this isn't funny, but the funny part about how people make comedy up from something bad like that. I saw that somebody posted a comment about the alligator that ate a kid a couple of days ago, and they said that it was an ISIS alligator, and how people are just turning anything that happens into an ISIS thing. It's like, man, our country makes light of weird things, man.
Right?
Really weird things.
Which is... I try not to laugh.
I know, you try not to laugh, but you have to because it's so goofy.
Yeah, that's right.
That if you don't laugh at it, then you're like, oh my god, then maybe it's serious.
Well, it is serious, though.
I mean, like, serious about the ISIS being an alligator.
Yeah.
Or, an alligator being in ISIS. It's gonna get weird, folks.
It seriously, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy just said, this was a new record for mass shooting. It's just a matter of time until that record's broken again.
And then I read something else that there was a mass shooting that was way worse than this, but since it was back in like the Pilgrims and Indians age, they didn't consider it. What? No, I'm serious. But it wasn't. We were still like, I don't want to say colonized, but we were still like a community then. So it was like, because it was in a school, and it was in a school filled with women and children Indians, and some crazy white dude went in there and shot up the whole thing, killed 200 people.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was the
With
biggest.
a gun?
That was the biggest mass shooting. Yeah, killed 200 people back in like Pilgrims and Indians days. I don't know when it was, but it's a very old picture too. So and I don't know how realistic it was because it was on the internet. I didn't do any of my research afterward, but I saw that and thought it was like how easily we forget.
We're good. Just the screensaver.
Oh, phew. I thought we lost it all. I was like, we got to start over.
I would just be like, man, you can go home. You don't have to stay here.
We got to figure this out.
So how does that make you feel? With things happening like that, mass shootings, kids letting their kids jump into gorilla pits and swimming.
That one's kind of the weirdest one to me. I wish I could see some of these videos because I've never saw any of the videos of that.
Oh, the gorilla one's weird.
Yeah, see, I've heard mixed reviews, like, where some people said the gorilla was kind of, like, trying to pull the kid as, like, ownership of it.
Yeah.
And then another one was like, oh, yeah, no, the gorilla was really mad and was going to kill the kid.
No, it looked like he was trying to defend him.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is the gorilla's just so strong.
Yeah.
And so, with that, he was just, if you watch the video, he's ripping him like a rag doll.
The kid?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, yeah. But,
so he was like...
Oh, yeah, the kid was in the pit,
yeah,
and the gorilla had him...
I saw the kid in the pit, but the pictures I saw was just like the gorilla kind of like...
Oh, dude.
What is this?
He's like running with him.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's trying to like throw him or anything, but he is just whipping the kid around. Because the gorilla is just so strong.
Yeah.
Well,
not like
yeah.
brutally wise, but just doesn't know its own strength.
Yeah, he's like thinking of his own kid, Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so kids jumping into gorilla pits.
Well, the craziest part about it is we just had that.
Yes.
We just had the gorilla one. Then, what, 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
10 days?
Yeah.
The alligator with the thing?
Yeah.
I just, like, you would think that there would just be a big uproar about people.
Keep stroking that mic. And, oh, my God. But, yeah, there were signs saying no swimming.
The kid was out there trying to swim? See, I don't really know the whole story on that one either. I just know that happened.
No, yeah.
Do you know a little bit more about the story? Okay, go ahead and help me out.
They're at the beach at Disney World, one of the resorts, and he is the only kid or anybody in the water. And there's signs saying no swimming,
Did he go over like a fence or over anything to get up
and
there?
that's the other thing. I mean, he just walked in and he's wading in the water and just kind of
strictly
splashing
a parent
around.
Not really paying attention to their child.
Yeah, it's like what we were saying.
We're having a lot of that lately.
Yes, it's like I was just saying to you, we have too many distractions.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest one is
your cell phone.
There you go.
Your cell phone, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Snapchat,
your podcasts.
Absolutely. Yeah, I defend podcasts because you press play and you listen. Yes, exactly. You're not looking at anything. Yeah. I'm not looking at my screen when I'm listening to a podcast.
You've been staring at this screen.
I'm just making sure we're recording.
I'm joking.
So yeah, it's definitely weird. We're a weird society with that stuff. I mean, it's going to get weirder and weirder. I mean, they've already got Google glasses. Where you can just walk around.
Would you wear a pair of those?
No.
As of today, you wouldn't, but maybe someday I think you would.
No, because they're going to go to contact lenses.
Is that not weird or what?
That is very weird. Yeah. But I think it's because you could take video and people could see that you had a cell phone. And so they'd be like, what, are you filming me? What are you filming me? Yeah, and it's like...
But imagine the contact one. Are you filming me? But no one would ever
know
the wiser.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with the glasses. It's like they were just like mock glasses, a frame that was fake.
With one lens.
Yeah, you're like, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm 3 parts robot and 1 part asshole, so... But that's funny. So, yeah, we're just weird. I've heard people are...
I don't think it's weird. I think we're different now than we were before. And what I mean by that is just like the technology nowadays. I was explaining to somebody, too. I'm from the south side of Des Moines. I was just explaining about like 10, 15 years ago how the south side was the place to be owning a house wise, not hanging out wise, but and that's why there's a lot of like home style cooked meal restaurants, a lot of Italian restaurants, a lot of just mom and pop shops that are still there but still around thriving because there's still that community.
Staples of the community.
How crazy it is that 10 years later, Jordan Creek area, West Des Moines area, Waukee, Ankeny blew up. Seriously? And then in the last 5 years, we're having this new flip over for downtown. Mm-hmm. All those apartment buildings, all those condos, all those like popping up, especially on the south side of downtown. They're popping up like wildfire. There's 4 that have opened in 2 years. And like these are big ones too, not like
big expensive ones.
Yeah, and there's going to be 2 or 3 more open at the end of this summer. So kind of crazy the amount of population growth that the Des Moines area has gotten. But what I meant by that with the south side is everybody used to talk about it, but those houses now, just a whole new different income style families have moved in there. I mean, it's just kind of flipped upside down. I did a funny Snapchat a couple of days ago, and I was looking at houses on Zillow, and one of the ones for the south side, or I was looking at one on the south side, and I hit the Google link, and the Google link switched me over to Google Maps, and it showed like in the explanation for the address, it said the greater south side of Des Moines.
The greater south side Des Moines.
The greater. So I had to snap it to everybody, and I circled it, and probably had the most Snapchat comments I've ever had in my life.
So, what were we talking about?
Can I ask you some questions about your editing?
What's up?
How does the editing go about? Like, is it like, even if there's only like a second dead space, are you gonna take that second out? So it's almost like it's free flowing story.
Yes.
Almost? Really? Okay. Cool.
I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you just don't want a lot of. I mean, just listen to silence right you hear that white noise and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
just want to eliminate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see what
yeah.
you mean.
And the
And
software,
I really would have
like,
never noticed that unless I was kind of doing this right now.
dude, I listen to podcasts all the time,
Yeah.
and I just notice anything like that. Like I listen to Joey Diaz. And
I really like Joey Diaz.
Oh,
you know
dude, he's
the one
comedy.
podcast I listen to a lot, or not. I used to listen to it a lot. I really should get back into it. But Joe Rogan's, and
Best podcast
he
ever.
had Joey Diaz on there a lot. Them are
Dude,
kind of like
those guys
pretty
are,
good buddies.
Yeah.
So like whenever you get them two together, it's
Oh
so
my gosh,
crazy the
dude.
amount of things they talk about and how opposite everything is. Like they'll be on one thing that's over here talking about the tragedies with the gay club in Orlando and the two kids that died, and then the one kid that died, and the one gorilla that got murdered. Another thing on with that, did you know that they're going around freaking killing alligators in Florida now, trying to find remains of kids inside of them?
No.
Yeah, they're going around like I want to say the number got up to like 13 or something like that. So they've killed 13 alligators in that area trying to find the remains of the kid. They still haven't. So just
No, they did find him. They
Really?
did find the remains of the kid.
in one of the alligators then, or no?
No, they found him intact, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Was he dead?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, 2 years old. You
Yeah,
don't really
2
know much then.
years. Yeah, even the guy was like, it's been over 15 hours, and we haven't found anything. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they found him. And,
That I did not know.
Yeah, just last
I don't
night,
keep up
actually.
with news a lot. I really don't. I'm not a big news fan, and I'm not a big like newspaper fan or something
Well,
like
it's
that.
pretty depressing stuff.
It is. It's very
Yeah.
depressing. I already have a bunch of sad shit in my life. Why would I need
Yeah,
more?
you know, I mean-
Especially of other people's.
Yeah, nothing better than just opening up CNN and it's like, 2-year-old killed by alligator in
yeah.
Florida, Disney
Pretty
World.
much where I get my news from is Facebook on the
I
thing.
know,
Whenever it's
yeah.
a big enough story and someone will share it, that's usually where I get my news from. That or customers out at work. I get some stories from them. Just did you know this? There's
sure.
not a lot of, or you try not to have a lot of dead noise in a car deal either.
The most important thing to remember, Tony,
Yes.
is that either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton will take care of all of this.
Yeah. What do you you
no,
know
they
what? I'm
won't.
glad that well, see, the funny thing is that I'm glad that you went to that in this podcast. I really don't care either way who it is. Number one. Number two, I can't vote anyway, so that's not a big
Valid. Yeah.
deal. So yeah, I can't vote anyway.
And you shouldn't want to because we have two people
Dude.
that
So is what's his face out completely?
Bernie Sanders has, Hillary Clinton's the main.
She won the thing?
Yeah. Obama supports her. She's going to be
Really?
the Democratic candidate for the election.
Really? I thought there was a big issue about her
Oh, yeah.
like voter
I mean,
fraud or whatever.
yeah.
And
No, she's under investigation.
oh
for,
man, it just blows my mind how we let this go. We just let it go.
Yeah, for her.
Like the American
Personal
people
emails.
really do blow my mind. Like I feel like there should be more outrage or outrage more often.
Dude, it's,
And I'm saying this sitting on a couch in a basement, not doing anything. You know what I mean? But I feel like there should be.
Well,
Maybe I should start something like that.
if you did what she did with your email account
Dude,
that had
Dude,
top
that's-
secret information,
Don't get me started on that.
you would be in jail.
You want to hear a crazy story about that? I didn't even know anything about it until we were on our way back from a vacation in New Orleans, and our taxi driver started talking to us about it.
About the Hillary Clinton thing?
About this Hillary Clinton email thing.
Yeah.
Never heard about it, or never really dug into it or nothing like that. He was explaining to me like some hard facts about it and about how the lady that was the whistleblower got fired. Then she made sure that she couldn't get a job anywhere else. Then the girl just mystery had this disease and died like a week later.
Weird.
Yeah. Or ironic.
Ironic.
Yeah, not weird. That's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But crazy, man. And then the American people just let it go.
Well, she was a lawyer,
Who?
Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
There's video that's pretty dark. Her after a trial.
I'm just all about the noise over here.
Yeah, you're just killing
Well,
it
you
over
got this
there.
fucking sun in your basement,
It's a fluorescent light, everybody.
and it's a beam fluorescent light, and it's 4 feet away from our faces.
That's like vitamin D, bro.
Yeah, it is.
It's good for you.
I feel like I got more sun down here than I did out on the golf course
There you
today.
go, brother.
I golfed on a Thursday.
Yeah,
It is
definitely.
part of work.
But anyways, yeah, she was a lawyer who
Suck.
defended a child molester who
Don't get me started on that.
molested a child at the age of 12, a girl. And she's on video just laughing about it.
Can we find that video somewhere or sometime? You don't have to show it right now, but can I watch it
Oh,
before we leave?
Yeah, definitely. So you can't vote.
Mm-hmm.
Would you vote for either if you could?
No.
No.
There's one thing that I believe, I could be wrong. Everyone's opinions, what it is, it's their opinion. But in my opinion, I don't believe voting does anything. Because the person we're voting for is just an actor to be in front of a screen and to either, number one, flourish in case America does good for the next 8 years, or in case they shit, he's the one that's supposed to. Oh yeah, I never asked you about cursing.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Okay,
yeah.
So then, second is, in case things go bad, he's the forget that, or I want to say, F that dude or whatever. It was him.
We'll get somebody.
It was him that did this.
Yeah.
No, it's our House, it's our representatives, and it's our Senate that do all of the decision making, or the majority of it. And he does the writing off, and he does I'm going to tell the American people about it. So, to me, I don't even believe that that's a position in our. And again, some people will outrage about that, but that's just what I believe.
No, the Electoral College, too, I think is a big joke. It's one of the big reasons I don't like to vote.
Yeah. Well, what's happening right now, I'll pause that, but what's happening right now is really set. That whole thing with the voting issue with Clinton. Sorry, I got the hiccups. That probably sounds really bad.
The voting issue? What do you mean?
She got caught with, voting fraud now again. Just recently in California.
Oh, I guess I didn't see that. You're more than fine. It's all right. Tony's got the hiccups.
I got the hiccups that are really bad.
We'll give him the best timing award.
This goddamn Diet Pop. What's Diet Pop?
I don't know. I'm an asshole. So, you can't vote. Have you heard of Gary Johnson?
No.
No, so he's going to be the Libertarian candidate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's pretty interesting. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, actually.
Really? I would like to see that one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's 3 hours of politics, but it's good. I mean, he literally goes...
Good politics?
Good politics.
Does it look like Joe Rogan's not endorsing, but following his feet, or like what he says? God, these hiccups are bad.
You're good, dude. It's all right.
No, I know, but I'm hurting.
You're bouncing.
Yeah.
You're bouncing with hiccups. Tony's dying. Quit it.
Scared me.
I almost tried to yell into the mic a second ago, but I didn't want to.
John, let's talk about you.
No.
Yeah.
We were talking about Gary Johnson.
Well, let's
and
talk about
in 2 seconds, everything you say right now is getting edited.
Everything's getting rid of this.
So Gary Johnson.
This works way better. I really like this. It's the length of it that was way better.
That's
because
what she
the other one was
said.
on my hand, and I couldn't get it off of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is what she said.
Nice. We changed our windscreens, ladies and gentlemen, and it sounds about the same, but it's better for Tony. And it's more comfortable.
Say it's a little louder too.
I think so too.
No, it's good.
Okay,
good.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
No, I like it.
Touch it.
I want to be able to hear you.
I
want to be able to feel you inside me. I mean, hear you. Are you gonna vote for him?
I am gonna vote for Gary Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's why.
Is it weird that people don't want to tell them who they vote for?
It is weird. Everybody
My mom
says
said that's her generation. Like, you're just not supposed to. I'm like,
you're not supposed to talk about politics.
Well, then, hey, if that's the truth, or if that's real, if that's what you believe, why would you ever go to a Hillary campaign?
It's on the news every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it every single day, but then you can't talk about it in person.
I know, but the weird thing about it that I'm trying to get at is my mom was goofy about it. You know what I mean? Just the whole fact of it's none of your business.
You're still making all that mic noise. Tony's fucking Luke Skywalker with his microphone over here.
It's kind of how I feel with these hiccups. I felt better when I stood up, so I'm going to do that again.
But I mean, everybody has their opinions. I pulled in the other day at work, and somebody had a Donald Trump sticker, on their car, and it's like, wow.
Did you burn their car?
I'm kidding. Thought about it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care who gets into office right now.
You should, though.
But no, I don't, because either one's going to be a little bit of chaos. And so I just think it might be a little less death chaos with Donald Trump and a little bit more business chaos. So I would almost want Donald Trump to be in if it was between him and Hillary. That's just my opinion.
For sure. Well,
A lot of people hate me for that, but I just think that it'd be a lot of like less soldiers dying because he's a more like, hey, how do we figure out a way to make money from this? Other than, hey, how are we going to figure out how to take over this country by killing more of them or whatever? You know what I mean? Or those backstage handshakes with
And
her
this is
in
what I
Saudi
hope
Arabia and shit like that.
from what you're saying, is that this is what gives Gary Johnson a chance. Because
I really do believe that they have a good chance. But you really think that there's a considerable amount of percentage chance that someone other than a Democrat or a Republican will be the candidate or will be the president?
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. I mean, everybody who talks
just because
about
there's
it would
so
say,
many,
well, if you're voting for independent, you're wasting your vote.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lose.
I almost like I would almost be like, yeah, I wrote in my dad. Next time someone asks me who you voted for, oh yeah, I wrote in my dad.
Hell, I'd write Joe.
You just wasted a vote. Fuck, all the votes are wasted. I was fine all night long until we went that. And then I got the hiccups. Anyway, so what else? Let's talk about something other than politics. Number one,
Yeah, man.
I don't know a lot about it. Number two,
You
I
can't
really
vote.
don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't vote. You're lucky. You don't even have to fucking worry about it.
Fun
Everybody's like, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to vote for? You get to just say, oh, I can't. Because then if I'm like...
Well, then there's that awkward stage. Well, why can't you?
Well, yeah. And that's what we're actually going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen.
Or do you mean you don't want to?
Well, if you just can't, then you don't even
but
have
that's
to
what
deal
people...
with
That's their response. You mean you don't want to? No, I mean, I can't go and write my name on it and put a ballot in.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You just get to basically
say, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're talking about Tony Romeo.
Jeez.
Gentleman who grew up...
with the government name.
Yeah. Gentleman who grew up in Des Moines, Iowa.
The dirty South Side.
Yep. How old are you, Tony?
A.K.A. the greater South
The
Side.
greater South Side. How old are you?
I am 28 years old.
28, same as I am. When's your birthday?
In February 25th of the 88th of the years.
I figured I was older and wiser than you, like I am. So,
but you're not, because
I
it
will
took
be
you
29 in November.
hours to set up. We had an appointment.
Yeah, took me all this time to set up and make it sound nice, just for Tony to
shit on it.
Yeah, screw around with his microphone and kill it with sound. So 28 years old. Grew up in Des Moines on the south side.
Like the heart of the south side, or the center. Right off of the corner of Park Avenue and South Union. It's pretty much the dead center. South Union cuts the south side in half from the southeast and the southwest side. And Park Avenue is about halfway down from downtown to, say, Polk County Line. Or County Line Road, I mean.
Nice. Okay. You went to Lincoln?
Yes.
Lincoln High School?
Went to St. Anthony's, then went to Lincoln, then went to AIB. So I did everything on the south side.
Nice. AIB.
That's another whole story that I don't really like to talk about, because who has $22,000 in student loan debt to a school that no longer exists? So the piece of paper I have isn't worth wiping my ass with.
Me, and Rage Life, we're all in that boat.
So can we say that we got a 4-year bachelor in 3 years without anyone knowing, because there's no one to call?
I might change my resume.
Yeah, I did, or I'm going to.
Who are they going to call? Well, I bet you they have to give your transcripts or something to somebody.
No. Burned them. That was a funny little giggle, Johnny.
So yeah, we both went to a school that now doesn't exist. And so what happens with those records? I bet you they probably are somewhere. And who knows? Yeah, you go and apply for a job. Yeah, man, I got my 6-year degree, man. Yeah. I went to AIB twice.
I got a doctorate.
They offer doctorates at AIB? Yeah, man.
I got a PhD in what's the keyboarding thing that they did there?
Oh, the closed captioning stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called though. I just had it.
How funny was that? Like, all those people would just be walking with their briefcase.
Holding around a briefcase full of things. I mean, I can't hate on somebody trying to find a or not trying to find, but pursuing school and something that they like to do.
Stenographer.
But,
Stenographer.
No, that wasn't it. I'm serious. That's not what it
Sure
was.
it is.
No.
What's a stenographer then?
I don't know. But no, I'm talking about like what they called it, like the Urban Dictionary version.
Shorthand typing?
No.
I don't know. You're retarded. Anyways,
I wish these. Would stop, but
yeah, I wish you would stop.
What are you gonna
making noise
do?
with your mic. Pretend you're a mic stand.
Yeah.
and
Pretend
just
I'm
stay the
like
fuck still.
killing it on the fucking stage.
That never happens.
No, it never does. Anything. Yeah, we're talking about like me not being able to vote and how it's a easy decision,
Well, yeah,
I guess,
and
because I don't have to make
You
it.
grew up on the south side. You
Oh,
went
yeah.
to Lincoln.
Yep.
What was your first job?
Ooh. To me and Sons, I was a busboy.
How old were you?
Well, young, like 12, maybe 13.
Nice.
It was super cool. I'll always remember this. I'll never ever forget it. I made like, and you gotta remember, 12, 13 years old, never making money before.
Dancing like a fool in your Italian Heritage Dance Club.
What's that got to do with?
I don't know. You said you're like young and crazy or
I was
something.
working at Tamiya's. Just stay off that
All right.
stuff.
Okay, yeah. To
What
me,
I don't know. What are you talking about? You completely like lost my story into something completely else. Anyway, we'll get to the Italian folk art dancing. So it was New Year's Eve. Let's set the stage. It was New Year's Eve. To me and Sons. It was like first or second year that they had been running. And so it was hopping, Everyone was down there having their pre New Year's Eve dinner, and like it was just packed asses to elbows. I remember it, like there's just a little lane to walk through next to the bar, and so I'm running glasses back and forth, and people are just handing me like dollar bills, but here, like just here and there. Usually I don't get tipped out till the end of the night, but people just like, hey, run inside and grab me a beer or whatever. So I run inside and put it on their tab and run it back out, and then throw me $1 here and there. So by the end of the night, yeah. Well, fuck. At the end of the night, I think I made $129, and I thought I was rich. Like it was that first time I'd made a good amount of considerable money, and I was like, man, this is awesome.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, when you get.
I remember buying a
paycheck.
bike.
Yeah.
I bought a bike. I'm one of those people that save up a lot of money and buy something big. I never it blows my mind that a lot of people just don't have any money. Like, I guess I just always do something to
there's people that
strive
are
to
just
make myself to have readily available money, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not rich by any means. But like, and then I never buy a bunch of little things. It's always like a big thing, or I'll save some money and then buy something big or whatever, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but especially when I was a little kid, like no little kids save, $300 and go buy their own Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did that type of shit. Like I bought my own bike. I bought my own TV. I bought my own video game systems back in the day.
Yeah.
I bought my first car.
Everybody gets $50 and they're like, "What can I buy? What can I buy?"
Yeah.
I see what you're saying for sure. Okay, so to me and Sons, and you were like a bus boy.
Yeah. So I just remember it being super cool and just like I worked my ass off. I remember my feet. This was my first time my feet ever hurt too. Like just been like, man, I was running. My dad was the bartender. Yeah, it was awesome. That was really cool.
And that's an Italian restaurant?
It's an Italian restaurant over on the south side.
Pretty big in like an Italian
heritage family. Yep.
Big.
Well, half my family is. I always say half my family is white, and then my other half's Italian. And a lot of people say, "Well, it is white or whatever," but it's just the way we look at it. I guess
For sure.
we look at it as like it's a whole nother, like just like Greek people act like they're a little bit different than white, and strong Bosnian people think that they're different a little bit. That's how we just looked at ourselves as just a little bit different because of it.
So what's an Italian heritage consist
Pasta.
Well, yeah, like so
I
I
guess
mean,
I'm
like what was
confused.
home life like? I mean, so you're Catholic, super strong Catholic, right?
No. Well, I grew up that way, but I absolutely despise it now. And I shouldn't say that as bad as I do. I'll knock on wood again. There's a lot of things about it I don't believe in. I don't really give a shit about that anymore. And I never really did. I never really liked it. It was more the thing that, like, they made me do it. They made me go. They made me do all that.
Yeah,
which,
you
don't get me
weren't given
wrong,
the choice
I
to
learned a
decide.
lot from it, and I'm probably a stronger, smarter kid for it, just going to a Catholic school and not a public school.
Is being Catholic an Italian thing? Like, are a lot of Italians Catholic?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. There's not a lot of Italians out there that aren't Catholic.
Right. Okay.
Or at least that's what I see. Now, practicing and saying you are two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
See, we were, part of our lives growing up, we were very strong Catholics, and the other part, we were just like, we'd call it kitchen Catholics. You just pick and choose whatever you want, or I think that's what they call it. I could be off on that, but they call it something. Cafeteria Catholics.
I was about to say, like, a la carte Catholic.
Yeah.
A la carte Catholic.
Yeah. So, but I don't look at myself as Catholic at all. There's a lot of things that have happened, especially GAIN.
Grew up Catholic, you don't support that because you weren't really given the decision to choose.
No, I was just told this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I really didn't even know that there was other religions until I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and then I didn't even know that there was other religions that even mean to shit. And what I mean by that was like had enough followers that it was an actual legitimate like practice thing. Like I really thought it was just like there was Catholic, Lutheran, which is a different form of Catholic or Christian, and then Methodist. That was the only ones I thought that existed. Then I went to prison, and it was just like, oh my god, there's like 600 religions that these guys say that they practice.
Definitely.
Crazy to me that was one of the most mind blowing things, was just being like, wow, you can believe whatever you want to believe. I really, really want to make my own church. I really do. I've said that for a long time now. I think I have a lot of good ideas or a lot of good views, and I want to pass that along to people. I'm a big helper. I like to help a lot of people. Always have been. So
you would do a religion?
Yeah, I've always wanted to.
You said a church, not a religion.
Both.
So you wouldn't be.
Well, no. Like maybe a different, like offspring of a kind of a religion, but like just start a church, pretty much, or a community. You can call it whatever you want.
Cult.
I would call it a cult or a community.
I was gonna say a cult.
No, I don't want a cult, but I mean, it'd be really cool if I could just tell people what to do. That'd be awesome.
Hey, take this Kool-Aid. It's awesome.
Or hey, go. No, never mind.
Oh wow.
I need some favors.
So you were 12 when you had your first job at Timmy and Sons, or right? Timmy and Sons.
Timmy and Sons.
Yep.
So, bus boy, killing it.
And then you went to Lincoln High School.
Yep.
When did the drugs start to come into play? When you were
what drugs, John? No. Believe it or not, believe it or not, Ripley's. I never even knew what weed looked like until I was probably a junior in high school, and then I never even tried it or anything else. Like, I didn't even drink. Like, don't get me wrong, I would take a sip or whatever because I knew I didn't like the taste of it.
Yeah.
But I never even like drank to get drunk until I graduated high school, I believe. Until after, kind of like you.
Yeah.
You never did anything until after you graduated.
I was always afraid because of football.
Yeah. Which you weren't even that good at that.
Thanks, bro. I started, ladies.
Were you?
Yeah, bro.
No, I mean, like, what position did you play? I didn't know that.
Dude,
I didn't know
weighed
you were
like 250 pounds. Remember?
Shit, I weighed 250 once, but it was fat.
Well, I wasn't.
I used to play video games back in the day. And, you used to play video games with me, too.
Yeah, we play Halo.
Yeah, we had some good times.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
Why don't you hang out more?
Because you're a bitch.
That's not what.
Okay, so back to the drugs.
Why do you keep wanting to talk about that, John?
Because this is the interesting shit, bro.
No, I know. Go ahead.
Okay, so first time you really started to see drugs was after high school.
Yeah.
And so you were probably 17, 18?
17, yeah.
17.
Yeah, you're right. 17, late 18, or early 17, late 18 into that time.
Okay. So what were the first drugs you did?
Um, it was probably definitely weed.
Weed.
Was
The common.
first one I
The common
did.
first for most, yeah.
And then after that, God, this hiccups suck. I want to say, ecstasy probably was next.
Wow.
I think that was the next one I tried.
Did you just do that on your own, or
No,
did
I went
other
to.
people do it?
I went to. Oh yeah, no. It was a party. It was a party. I remember I was okay. So I think I remember the first time I ever tried it. I
Here,
was.
When you tell this story, try to stay
It's
stone
still as
cold.
possible. Back to the story. So I was driving my Honda Del Sol Slam to the ground. For all you folks out there that doesn't know what that means, you could take a cigarette box and hold it not tall ways and not flat, but sideways, so like the width of it.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
you could try to slide that underneath the car, and it wouldn't.
Whoa.
That's how low it was. It was almost like one of those go-karts, but like a car.
Weird.
Yeah, it was a cool car and it looked sick, but it was
What year was it?
sucked to ride. Between
Good God.
92 and 97, but the year was 2007. It was after I graduated. Or yep, 2007.
You had that nice new car, son.
Nice new car?
I'm just kidding.
No, it would have been about 10 years old, maybe a little,
Yeah.
10 to 15 years old.
Um.
But anyway, so I was driving
Yeah.
that, and this tells you how south side I was.
Okay,
So-
so really quick, sorry.
Mhm.
What's it called when you get to slide the cigarettes underneath it? Slammed to the ground?
Yeah, slammed to the ground, dumped.
Dumped.
What's it? I mean, just the car was lowered very, very low.
It's-
No. This tells you how south side I am.
No, I know.
I didn't know where 50th Street was because I'd never been out that
That's
far.
too far away, man.
I've never. No. At that point, I had never been past Valley West Drive ever.
Wow.
Like, so I didn't know that there was a 50th. So he gave me the address, and this is like before Google Maps and MapQuest was big. So he gave me the address. So I'm out here trying to find 50th Street in between, or trying to find this address for a house in 50th Street, Des Moines, not 50th Street, West Des Moines.
Oh, no.
And dude, by the time I got to this house, everybody's twacked out of their mind on X already. And so like I walk in, I'm like, fuck man, I've been just driving around, finally I figure out where to go, and everyone's already having a good time. And I was kind of just like that fuck it moment. So my buddy's like, hey man, oh, and that was the cool part about it. I get to the house, and it was one of my buddies from high school. Well, his dad lived out of town or whatever, or I mean, had a house in Florida-ish or something like that, just somewhere warm,
Mhm.
and or Arizona or something. But so he just kind of like lets the son just stay there. So he was throwing a sick party, and this is nicer houses in West Des Moines. He had a pool in the backyard. Well, it was
nicer houses that you couldn't find.
it was cold, and so these bitches were naked, running outside, jumping in the pool, trying to get out really quick, screaming, then running inside and like warming up inside, but butt naked. So this is like I'll just never remember or never forget this story ever.
It's like Fast Times at Ridgemont.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. I was like, man, is this a movie or like what's going on here? So then we get down to my buddy's basement, and because he lived that's where his bedroom was, and he's like, hey man, you want to take one of these? I was like, oh, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's just an X. Everyone here's rolling.
It's a Flintstone.
That's
vitamin.
that's what we're doing. I was like, oh, well, yeah, let's try it. Whatever, I'll do one. And that was one of the best nights of my life. So,
And how old were you when that happened?
It had to have been 17 or 18, because it was right after we graduated. Because like it would have been, we graduated
So
in
probably in like
May or June. It would have been probably the summer. So after the summer, because I was cold. I just remember it being cold, and that's why the girls were running outside to jump in the pool and then
so it could have
running
been
back
like
in.
August or
No. I'm guessing
September,
like October, November.
Yeah.
Yeah, or probably September, October, late September, early October. Because I want to say it was nighttime, so it would have been like 40s, 50s at night.
Yeah,
Cold, but not like freezing your balls off.
gotcha.
Anyway,
that
so
was
I
the
took
first-
it, and nothing really happened for a long time. So I was like, oh yeah, this shit's bullshit, whatever. Then it's just like all of a sudden you get it, and you're like, and you're coming back into it, or you're starting to feel it. And I just remember laying the house that we're at had a pretty cool basement. We were all in the basement playing music, and there was one or two people. Like all of us were in a room kind of like this. It's not huge, but I'd say it's probably 20 feet by 12 feet.
Yeah, he's
maybe?
talking about my studio, which
Yeah.
is humongous. He's just
Well, for a studio, it's
No.
humongous. For a downstairs basement hangout room, it's
yeah, like you said, 20
like a basement room.
Yeah.
So anyway, make a long story short, we're all sitting around the walls because there was carpet, but there was no furniture, and there would be a couple people laying down the center of the room, and somebody was standing up doing glow sticks above that with music playing, and that was pretty much my whole night. It was so awesome. It was the best feeling ever, like one of the better feelings ever. Yeah, and then after that, I just finally muscled up enough strength to drive and drove all the way to the back to the south side, and then couldn't comprehend how far I had gone out because it's the farthest I'd ever gone at that point.
You were like,
I've never gone past Valley West Drive at that point. How crazy is
You
that?
were in another
And now I go past it every single day to go to work. You know what I mean? It's just like I think to myself, it's crazy how when I was younger, like everything we needed or did was on the south side. We didn't have to go anywhere else. Like I still don't know what some places are on the north side because I've never been there. But then really, what do you go to the north side for? I mean, other than Smoky D's.
Smoky D's, yeah, that's good stuff.
It's literally the only thing I would think about. I would ever go to the north side for.
So, do you think that was what started it all, or?
No. I think what started it all was probably my personality. When I was younger, or I don't know how to explain that. My dad was always a hustler. Not bad. Never once have I ever seen him sell or use a drug, but he was always like the way he always taught me to have an income or have more than one income. Always, even if you don't get very much money from the other one, always have another form.
Like a backup
making
plan.
an income. Yeah. Or no, not necessarily backup plan, but like a side hustle.
Okay.
So he always bought and sold cars. Then closer to the end of his life, he was buying and selling houses or buying and renting out houses.
You said cars.
Cars, yep.
Cars.
Automobiles.
Yeah.
Driving.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Because, and then this goes back to my first story with my dad hustling while I was buying my first car. I was fucking 13 or 14. Me and my dad would go to the auto auction on Saturday. It was called Lenders and Insurers Auto Auction. We would go out there, or we would go drive along the back lot of Stivers and Stu Hansen when it used to be downtown. And we used to buy old Lincolns and Cadillacs from the back lot that they would like send to auction or that they would sell as wholesale pieces. Wholesale just means like they didn't want to put their name on it, their stamp on it, so that you could just buy it for cash.
So driving those big old boats.
Always. But always growing up, like my mom had a pink Cadillac for as long as I can remember.
Nice.
And my dad would bounce back and forth from Lincoln Continentals to Cadillac Dovevilles, Seville's, Eldorados. So many of them throughout my childhood. But that was his side hustle. So I've always had some form of a side hustle. My dad got into buying and selling houses or buying and renting out houses towards the end. I kind of really, really want to get back into that, especially now that I'm looking for houses. I don't know why. I've just always enjoyed it. I almost want to make it my full-time career. I really don't like selling cars for a company. It just, I don't want to say I don't because I'm really good at it and I like it, but there's just a lot of politics that go into it, which is just annoying. But
Well, so you learned from your dad that
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say I learned or I started.
No, but you were just saying.
But I learned how to hustle, and I just saw that there was an easy way to get money. Yeah, I saw that there was an easy way to get money, and so I just put A and B together. I've always been kind of a witty person, or quick, I guess. I don't know the right way to say that without making it sound like I'm an asshole. Like I think of myself
witty,
but just quick, and
Yeah.
I've always had kind of a side hustle or whatever.
a salesman.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know a little bit about a lot. And
That's a good way to say it. Yeah,
and you kind of have
to. And so you saw that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
To
and especially after my dad had passed away. So.
And how old were you when that happened?
17. I
17.
just graduated high school.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in May. He
And
passed away in October.
How did he die? If you.
Well, I mean, he was overweight and he smoked, so it was just a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And yeah, it just never.
I remember that.
Yeah, he came back, but he never his body came back. His mind never did. So he had to be on a machine and everything to stay afloat.
Because he lost oxygen.
I think that's the biggest one.
For sure.
Is that he lost oxygen for too long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Well, and so you're dealing with that too.
Yeah, well, and the bad thing about it was my dad was the breadwinner by far. My mom was making $20,000-$30,000 a year. My dad was making $120,000 to $130,000 a year. Then all of a sudden that stops.
Yeah.
Plus, we were thinking that we were gonna get a life insurance policy, but he ended up saying that he wasn't a smoker on his life insurance policy. They did an autopsy, saw clearly that he was a smoker. Whoa. And we got fucked out of $1.5 million out of that. Yeah. So, and we got
that
left.
Can happen?
Oh yeah, by far, easy.
Whoa.
It happens to a lot of people. That's the insurance company's sole purpose after you die is to figure out a way to make that document not
void or not valid.
Yes.
Yeah, make it void. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So
we went from. Well, in my lifetime, I've done a lot of ups and downs. Like there was some time when I was younger, still in St. Anthony's, and we were at our old house over right up by the corner of Park Avenue in South Union. That it was rough. Like my dad was switching careers from insurance to mortgages, but he didn't know about the mortgages yet. He was just kind of looking for something that would, I guess, keep his family afloat or whatever. And so we went from, mediocre, cool, we're good, making a good living, to all of a sudden not making any income at all for a long period of time. So roughing it, ramen noodles and hot dogs, or macaroni and cheese and hot dogs for a long time for a lot of meals. So do you think
that could have played into it too?
Yeah, because I saw my dad kind of hustle and still provide for his family, and not in a bad way at all, in a legal way. I want to get that clear that he never did anything that would make me think that he ever hustled illegally.
No, it just sounds like he was
that was
never
the path I took because I saw the easiness of it.
Well, right.
Yeah. So
I don't want like your dad was a hard worker.
Anyway,
but so your dad died.
Mm-hmm.
The income that he was bringing is gone. Yeah,
plus the insurance fucked us. Plus, my grandma wanted to throw him a nice funeral, so money that we could have used for the family went towards a bigger funeral than probably we should have had. Most funerals cost between $7,000 and $10,000. Ours is, I want to say, between $20,000 and $27,000. So, don't get me wrong, it was big, it was beautiful, it was amazing, and I could not believe how many people were there. I've never seen that many people at a funeral before. So that was a real cool thing to see, that a lot of people thought my dad was important enough in their lives to go to that funeral. So that was cool.
Definitely. But yeah, and so after all that happens, you're stuck.
Oh yeah, so
and
we're
you're
stuck high and dry. So we went from down to up to now we're back down again.
Yeah.
And then I made a mistake because I saw that there was easy money in, selling and using drugs. Mostly selling. There's not money in using it because you're using it up. But
now, did you sell before your dad died or
no?
After?
Well, and if I don't know. I can't. That timeline, I just can't remember back in that time.
For sure.
There was a time when I was moving a lot that was plus using a lot. So there was, I don't want to say, because I remember everything. I've never blacked out or nothing like that, but there's a lot of blur time because of the amount of things that we did, but it was regularly. So it's putting that time with this time at that time.
For sure.
I feel like I got a bug in my nose.
You got a bug in your ass because you keep moving that microphone cable.
You're right. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Not deleting that.
Yep. No. So, we went ups, downs, and then, downs, ups, and then downs again. So then I made the decision to try to go and provide for my mother and my family by going and trafficking / selling ecstasy pills ended up getting in trouble.
Was it only ecstasy that you sold? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't want to incriminate myself, but
don't get yourself in trouble. Obviously.
yeah, I was doing a lot of things that weren't okay, but the only thing I got in trouble for
was
that.
Okay. Yeah, totally. Trafficking.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking about where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Just telling the story, I guess.
Yeah, you said you made the decision to.
So I was kind of having a really, really good time a lot. So then all of a sudden, the person that I was, I guess, getting all the stuff from, he ended up getting in trouble. Then what does he do? He tells on everybody underneath him. So
why would he do that? Underneath him? I don't think.
Yeah.
Why would they go underneath?
So the funniest part about the whole deal is he told on people underneath him, and he even told on his own baby's mama, like his own mother to his firstborn son.
Wow.
Tells on her too, and it's like, and it's just like, the funniest part
also,
about it is
he
used to preach to me, oh, if anything ever happens, don't say anything, and what happens? We get busted, and he fucking tells everybody everything. My attorney was absolutely worthless, but the one thing that he did say that was really funny was, when he came in to see me one time when I was in there and I was kind of upset, he kind of wanted to make light of the situation and just, make me kind of giggle. And he goes, "Man, I tell you what, most of the time when a kid's getting interrogated, they got to beat him with a hose to get him to talk. But man, this kid that got busted with you, they had to beat him with a hose to shut him up. He was telling stories about everybody, about the whole South Side." Jeez. So that's the funniest thing is, like, he wouldn't tell on the guy he was getting the stuff from, but he told on everybody else, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Plus, that's the only person that they really wanted was the one he was getting it from, but he told on everybody else for everybody, all the other weird shit or different shit. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever.
What was that?
It still doesn't make sense now. It kind of makes me
like?
upset to even think about how dumb that is.
I bet. So, was it like police just came knocking?
No, that's the weird part too, because we were dealing straight with the feds because somebody had gotten in trouble at one time, and they said that this kid that was the guy I got in trouble with was moving way more than they said. They said he was moving like 100,000 pills a week or a month or something like that. I mean, that's a pretty good sized business.
Yeah.
We might have been moving like, a couple of hundred, if not maybe 1,000 or 2 a week or a month, depending on, if he had it or if he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, could you really even sell that many in Iowa?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So
it's a pretty big commodity now. Like, I would say it's definitely taken over crack, and it's pretty much taken over cocaine, but I don't really
expensive.
Huh?
Because it's not.
It lasts longer for the price, is what it is, and it's a fun, it's a fun thing. It's a fun drug. It's a fun mood. What do you call it? A mood
enhancer.
Yes,
something?
Thank you so much. That's exactly the word I was looking for. So in that fact, it's a mood enhancer, and people like it more. Plus, it lasts 4 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing and what you're using it for. But yeah, the craziest part is he told on his own mother of his firstborn son. And so the first year of his life, or the first year of his son's life, it didn't have the father or the mother. How disgusting is that?
Yeah, that's pretty fucked
Didn't
up.
have its father or its mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Like, take the fall.
Yeah.
Let the mom stay.
And the other worst part is this guy got busted for racketeering. He had 3 charges, and it was all federal charges, but he had 3 charges. I had 1, which was just conspiracy to help distribute MDMA, not as doing it and not as like being the racketeer or whatever, but just helping. I did more time than he did. How crazy is that?
What?
Yeah.
All because he told.
All because he told and I didn't. But I get to walk the streets. I get to, people still, shake my hand, talk to me, say hi. A lot of people don't even bring it up anymore and don't even think that it even happened. Sometimes it kind of blows my mind, the fact that people either forgot that it happened, or if people that I meet would never in their life think that would ever have happened to me. But yet I'm a little bit different of a person now than I was then too. So I've grown up a lot, and I've kind of moved away from that a lot. But it still kind of blows my mind that some people are like, "What?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
that's
it was a
part of
long time
why
ago.
I guess my story's so interesting because, what is it? 82% of convicted felons get in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
It's actually way higher than that. I want to say it's like 87% or 89%. So it's like there's only 10% of people out there that don't reoffend or don't especially reoffend in the next year or two. And I've been out for, jeez, 10 years? No, because I got out of school 10 years ago. I graduated high school 10
I
years
was gonna
ago.
say we've known each other for
5?
about 10 years. Yeah.
5, I
Mhm.
think. God, when did I get out? I got out September 15th, 2012. So 4 years now, I think. Maybe 5 if it was 11. No, well, it very well could have been 11, actually.
Crazy. So, I was gonna ask you something. I asked if the police came knocking, and you said that you're dealing with federal and not state.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, federal came knocking, or
Yes, the DEA.
the DEA? Wow.
DEA.
Came knocking at your house. It's to your mom's house.
Yep, and I wasn't there because I was at my girlfriend's, and they didn't know about that. And so, my mom's freaking out, calls me, the fuck does the DEA doing at my house? Blah, 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 blah. That type of shit. And, and I'm like, well, what'd you do? She goes, I let him in. I was like, you don't ever let him in. I was like, what do you, like, if I was there, I'd be in prison right now. What are you doing? You're going to prison. She's mad because of me getting in trouble. She's also scared because I was helping her.
Crazy.
I was helping her with a lot of shit. Now, so then anyway, so she's like, "Well, you need to fucking figure this out." Blah 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 blah. My mom curses too. She's a Catholic woman, but she curses. My mom was upset, of course, because the DEA came to her house. So
Did they completely raid the house?
No, they came just knocked on the door.
Oh, okay.
Thank God for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it could have been bad.
Was all your stuff there?
Yes, they didn't find any of it because they were just looking for me, and they didn't have a warrant, so they couldn't just go around searching for it. They're just looking for me. So if it was not out in plain sight, they can't touch it, and it's never out in plain sight.
I was gonna say you didn't leave it on the kitchen table. Hey, what's
not
that?
at mom's house.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes sense. So they couldn't come in. They were just.
So they
probably
looked for
just
me,
said,
saw I
hey,
wasn't
there's a
there,
warrant,
left.
No, there's not. Or there's a.
There was no warrant. Or there was a warrant out for my arrest, not a warrant for my search.
Not a warrant for your search.
Yep.
Okay.
So anyway, then I started freaking out. I started going around calling people. Plus, they called me. I didn't answer it. Then they called me again from a different number. It's like cell phone numbers, but just not ones that I know. So
The DEA.
Oh yeah. So then they call me and they tell me what's going on. Hey, there's a warrant out for your arrest. We'd just like you to come down to the Smith building and take care of it. I was like, what do you mean by take care of it? Oh, just come down and talk to us. We'll figure it out. Let's come down and let us arrest you. So.
Oh yeah, take care of it. It just means we'll slap you on the wrist.
Yeah.
So you be out lickety split.
Yeah. I probably could have been. Another kid that was on our case that told two that did the same exact thing as me. He didn't go to prison. I got 3 years, and then in 3 years in federal, you do 85% of your time.
Jesus Christ.
So if I did rat, I could have been on the street and never went. But I have to live with myself for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, plus I have to live on this side of town the rest of my life too, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a stand-up person for that and for, just personality in general.
Well, it definitely would have been easy to do
It would have been very easy.
Yeah.
But, again, I'd have to live with myself.
Yeah.
And this is me not telling on somebody that I didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like
Right. And so
I could have very easily have done it. I was like, I don't know this dude, but still, it's just not. That's taught not to.
When you got arrested, did you just sit in county then until?
No. It was down because it was. You got to remember, this is all federal. So I had to go down to the William Smith building downtown, right across the street from American Outlaw. It's that big silver building right next to the parking garage.
Okay.
That's the federal building downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So the DEA's in there, the
Oh,
IRS
yeah,
is
yeah,
in
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
the Homeland Security's in there. There's something else in there that's federal too. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, so the DEA's in there. So I came and surrendered. I surrendered myself there. John came down with me, or John gave me a ride down there. But I had talked to a couple of lawyers, and I talked to a couple of family friends to see what to do. Remember, my dad was passed away. I was kind of freaking out. I don't know what to do. Man. You know what I mean? A lot of times went through my head about running to Mexico. Very well. I know for a fact I could have got into Mexico if I would have went. You know what I mean? Just go to a non, one of the ports that go in. Just go to a non high traffic one, or just like they get in here. Why don't how hard would it be to get over there?
Yeah, I'm sure
then
it's easier to get into Mexico than it's harder.
Plus, with the money I had at the time, dude, I would have been a king for a long time. Plus, I would have started another hustle or something. Figure something out. You know what I mean? I've always just figured it out. You know what I mean?
So how much money did you have on
you at that time of arrest? Yeah. You got to remember, a lot of it went to my mother, but 20, 25, 30,000, somewhere in that area. Plus, I had a lot of product, too, so selling all it or not selling all it, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, I saved up a lot. Like I said, I'm a saver. I save, and then I buy big product, or big.
So you
big
could have definitely gone to Mexico.
I could have lived like a king for a while, and changed my identity, did a lot of things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know, I'm sorry.
You're right. I need to edit the fuck out of this thing.
Well, it's your punishment for the 2-hour delay before we started. That's John's wife, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Laughing.
Because she was in the middle of it as well, too. She's, God be my witness, and John's wife. I probably could have ran. Easily got in and ran.
But
I didn't. I turned myself in.
What was that like?
That was one of the rougher things. Again, I'd never been in trouble before, so didn't know what to expect. And I'm not Mr. Hard Ass trying to get in and
take me to jail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That wasn't me.
Oh yeah. So they arrest you.
They arrest me. So I'm in kind of like a office building. And so I'm in kind of like an office area with like maybe a private office, but there was just a desk in there, and it's like an interrogation room. And so they pull in John's sitting out in the hallway, but they pull in my mom and John's mom, and they're crying in like the back of the room, and I'm handcuffed to a table like this. I'd say it's 3 feet by 5 feet, and I'm handcuffed to the middle of it, and they're sitting there asking me questions. And then all of a sudden he started talking about my dad, and then he said that, well, do you think your dad would be proud of you? That stopped that. I spit in his face. He hit me while I was handcuffed to the thing.
The cop did?
Yeah. Handcuffed me while I was handcuffed.
What did he hit you with?
His like fist.
Whoa.
Yeah. It wasn't like a full-on punch, but it was a
like a backhand or something.
It was a punch, but it was like a jab, and it was quick, and it was like, hey, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like that's the immediate thought I got was I ain't doing that again really quick. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a full-on swing, but he jabbed. So I'm handcuffed there. That happened. That was the most annoying thing that ever happened, was because he said that comment about my dad, especially when I'm getting arrested and going to federal prison. But
rhetorical, stupid question.
Like, oh man,
just picking a fight.
Yeah, it just really bugged me. But anyway, so then my mom freaks out after he hit me, and I'm spit on his face. Just tell him. I'm like,
well, what did he want to know?
He wanted me to rap right there. Like he's pushing and pushing. And finally he said something about my dad, and that put me over the edge. And then I spit, and then he hit, and then we stopped.
And then that was
that was the end of it. I was like, yep, you can put me back in the cage now. We're done.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So that was the end of that. But anyway, so then I was in a holding cell in that building for a long time. Then they brought me to Polk County.
You're sitting in the office.
Well, no, we were done then. So then they bring me back into a cell, which was so tiny. It was tinier than any cell that I've ever been in at Polk County or anywhere else. It's literally just a holding cell with a seat in it. It was crazy. It reminds me a lot of the back of a police car, but wasn't moving. So like that's as much room as you have. It's just enough room as the back of a police car. You're just sitting in this like love seat cage. And they called that a room. I'm pretty sure it was just a closet that they put a fence in.
Crazy.
and a C. But anyway, then go back to county. This is the other worst part too. Is my lawyer sucks so bad. I out of my 3-year sentence, I spent 8 months in county. 8 months in county is worse than 3 years in prison to me. So, future reference or me thinking about it, I will do whatever I can to not stay in jail and to go to prison in the same circumstance ever happen again, me knocking on wood. But definitely learned my lesson there. That 8 months in jail was probably even, and this is really sad to say, but it was worse than, I shouldn't say worse, it was as bad as losing my father. That's how bad 8 months in the county is.
So, what's county like? I mean, what's
Well, imagine it's the worst of the worst people-wise. In 8 months, I was in 4 different pods. So average, I spent about 2 months in each pod. Because that's about as much as you can take. Because I would just do something stupid at the end of the 2 months, get in trouble, go to the shoot, and then come back out in a different pod. Once was a fur fight. Another one was for just mouthing off to a CO because I was just tired of where I was. Another one was having hooch. I was making alcohol out of old fruit and bread.
How'd you figure out how to do that?
There's other people there that show you how to do it, and then you just try to. And I did. But the nice thing about it was I just told them that. You know, I mean, you gotta remember too, I was never been in trouble before, so I was like, fuck, I don't know how to make hooch. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so we put that in my bag when you guys rushed in the thing, because they did like a raid. They'd rushed in, and they're going to try to pick up like drugs or hooch or anything else that contraband was. But it's all you could take, man. It's like, imagine being in a room where you don't get any sunlight for 8 months. I think I felt sun twice in 8 months. Once going to jail, once going to court, and once coming back from court for my sentencing. Other than that, I was in a room with like 80 to 100 other dudes that were the worst of the worst. That, no, don't get me wrong, there'd be 1 or 2 okay people there that were just in there for fucking up or something like that. But for the majority, it's straight up garbage of people. And so, like, that was one thing I had to learn the quickest.
Well, why were you there for so
long? Because I was there in between my arrest date and sentencing. A lot of people get out, and then on their sentencing date, they'll go in. So, like, on their sentencing date, they'll get sentenced to something, and then they'll start their time there because they'll get arrested and just start to go into the process. Or there's other people out there that have really good lawyers, and they would actually just self-surrender to the prison. So they'd have somebody drive them out there. I could have had John drive me out to Sandstone and did my whole time there, which would have been a dream compared to what happened to me. That 8 months in county is not fun. I went through some shit. Like, yeah, I mean, you're just looking for anything that'll help. And so I was talking to the psychiatrist there, asking to, like, get on something to help me. Wow, that was the complete opposite. Went into like this deep depression. I never knew and never really believed in the word depression or what it was, or people saying they're depressed. I'm like, suck it up, bitch. Like, all of us have a rough time. Get your shit together. Let's go. You know what I mean? But I went through depression at that time, and I know what they mean. Now, don't get me wrong. My energy in my body, I just like get it together and start working it out. Like, all of us have rough times. But that was hard to get over. And so I started taking pills, and I saw that it was bad or worse, and stopped immediately and was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to rough it. You know what I mean? But I was up, down, and around, and it sucked. It sucked a lot. It was all emotional. You know what I mean? It's like 1 second to be okay, and then I'd see a picture of a family and just fucking lose it. You know what I mean? So that was bad. That was really, really bad. County was... Other than my dad passing away, county was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Wow.
By far.
How was the food?
School food.
Yeah.
Yeah, just strictly same exact thing. School. I wouldn't be surprised if they get it from the same place. Because did you know, like, each school doesn't cook food for their kids? They actually get food from a huge, like, factory, and it's shipped in now.
And they just heat it up or something?
Yeah, or they don't even heat it up. They try to think of meals that don't have to have heating. You know what I mean? But imagine that. Every fucking place is like that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you spend 8 months in counting.
Yep.
And then you don't go to state prison.
No, federal.
You go
So I
to
went to
federal.
Sandstone. It's in Minnesota. It's in between like Duluth and Minneapolis. So it's cold 9 months out of the year.
Sweet.
Like I'm 20 minutes away from the Canada border.
Oh, wow.
Or I'm sorry, I'm 20 minutes away from Duluth, 20 minutes away from the Canada border.
So you're way up.
Yeah, way up there. And then like the whole time I was down, which is what they call it when you're in prison. I worked out on the who's that? I worked out on the is that Tyler Simmer?
Tight. Yeah.
What does it say?
You still golfing?
No.
What you guys shoot?
What?
It says you guys still golfing. What you guys shoot?
Yeah. Say 12 under. Never mind. You don't have to text me. Yeah,
Jesus
we're fine.
Christ. How far you were?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were down.
Yeah.
As you
So
say in
yeah,
prison
yep.
terms.
And the whole time I was down, I worked out outside. So they give us like full on sweats to wear, and then you have Carhartt gear over that. Carhartt snow pants with Carhartt jackets, because there's some people. Everyone has a job. That's a thing. You have to have a job if you're in prison, even if it's just sweeping a little section of the kitchen when food's done, or if it's anything. Every little job you can ever think of has to be done. So literally, you're just in a tiny community. It's just a lot of shitty dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just in a community of just a bunch of shitty dudes. It's like being in college with a bunch of shitty people. Seriously, that's literally what prison is. Well, that's a low. Or I was in a medium low is what they call it. Federal does camp, low, medium, and then maximum.
Okay.
And
security.
That's their security style prison. So I was in what's called a medium low. It wasn't a low and it wasn't a camp. It was a medium low. So it's like part of the things that we did were what happens at a medium prison, but some other things were like what goes on at a low. So
Gotcha.
we were considered a medium low, which wasn't all bad, wasn't all great. It's more of like community living than cell. There's no cells there. You live in like these huge rooms with just bunk beds like every 4 feet. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So like the only thing you have, you're just in a huge room. Oh, have you ever seen
I
Orange
was
Is
just
the New
about
Black?
to say, like the chicks.
So some of the
Orange Is the
places,
New Black,
so
where it's just like cubicles.
Oh yeah,
almost.
and some of the
Gotcha.
places, or two of the places I was at, was exactly like that, where you'd have just this like U-style wall that you use for privacy, but there's a bunk bed in it, and then just two dressers, and that's
I'm only
it.
laughing because I didn't want to reference Orange Is the New Black.
Why not?
The
Oh,
chick
no.
prison.
No, if
for
it's
you.
realistic. No,
I
mean
don't know.
because
it could be
that was
fake.
considered kind of a medium low in so like a lot of the look of that was exactly how the place was that I was at. A lot of the look. And even a lot of the mannerisms were exactly how. Like, we did count, and every day, same time, so you had to stand at the end of your bed. There'd be random counts in case they thought somebody was missing or something. Yeah, just a lot of things that were in that was how real life was there.
So you like that show, Orange Is the New Black?
I did. I watched all of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, the greatest show in the world. I still think, like, my all-time favorite show ever was Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
I just think, it's just a fucking cool show. It really was.
Walter White.
Yeah, realistic, but yet unrealistic. Like, could
Have
have happened,
seen-
but yet far-fetched enough that it didn't.
Have you seen Narcos?
I have started, like, a couple of them, and then I lost track, and then I just haven't gone into it more.
Even my wife likes that show.
Yeah,
It's
oh yeah,
pretty
how can you
violent.
not? There's just a lot of
it's real.
action. It's
Well,
action.
and it's real.
Yes.
I mean, the
Did
guy
you see
lost...
the whole OJ one? American.
No.
You should watch that
I
one.
know,
It was
it's
actually really
amazing,
good.
I've heard.
Yeah,
The
it was
People
really
versus,
good.
Or
The-
no, the People versus OJ
OJ,
Simpson.
yeah, the People versus OJ. It's called an American, not story, but not an American
Tale, Five
case.
Goes
Yeah,
West
something like
or
that.
something.
But you know what I mean. It really was. It was a great show.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good with Cuba Gooding Jr. and
Yep.
John Travolta.
Yeah, it was a great show. We watched all of it, me and Carmen both. Yeah. We
Oh,
don't
you
like
watched it on
and we
Amazon,
don't like
right?
a lot of like the same shows. I want to see one of the vices on prison too, because then there's a lot of other prisons that. Oh, you want a good concept of how jail is? That show 60 Days In is kind of realistic. Still, you got to remember there's a camera in a place, so they did a lot of things up. But for the most part, that is how you feel. That is how you like. Those people really did probably go through a jail, but with cameras. Did you ever see that show 60 Days In? You
Is
should
that
actually.
with the dude from?
No. It's called 60 Days In.
Oh,
There's
okay.
3 dudes and 3 women, and they put them in a jail. And the whole concept behind it is the jail is trying to figure out ways to be better. So they're going to have 3 people on each side be inside going through the jail as a criminal.
Gotcha.
And they were all going to do 60 days for a crime that they did, which it wasn't a crime, or they didn't do a crime. It was just kind of their.
They should do that.
They volunteered.
They should do that with a maximum security prison.
You got to remember the safety of those people, because if anybody gets...
That's why it would be the best show ever.
But think about this, though. Number one, you have a camera crew in there, because a lot of people don't think about this stuff or think about the backside, but you got to remember, like, you're in a place that's considered the worst of the worst,
Oh,
and
yeah?
the people there are the worst of the worst. They're uncontrollable. You
Hey,
all
I'm
of a
not
sudden
saying it'd be on ABC.
Yeah,
bro.
well,
It'd be
yeah.
on
No.
HBO.
I'm talking about it would never happen because
No,
of the
I
safety
know.
of the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one would give them the opportunity to
No.
let that happen.
Well, plus
Now,
then
in
they'd
a
have
medium
free
or a
reign
low,
to see
cool.
all the bad things that actually do happen.
And the
too.
cool thing was, in that 60 days, you got to see a lot of the bad things,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool because I like where I in Polk County, they didn't let a lot of shit slide there compared to like what I've heard on other jails or what I've seen on jail shows. Like, there's just like a lot of shit that doesn't slide, or you just can't get in, or you know what I mean, just along those lines.
Mhm.
Or at least when I was in there, and again, I was young at the time. I wasn't trying to get anything in, and I wasn't trying to see anybody's business, but I wasn't seeing a lot of crazy shit happen like I do on the shows either.
What was the craziest thing you saw
In there or in prison?
in prison?
In prison, the craziest thing for me to understand and that I saw was I had just gotten sentenced. I had just left, so I left Polk. This is my trip. So I left Polk County to go to Leavenworth, Kansas. That's the Midwest holding center for inmates for the federal prisons, or it's called the Federal Prison Federal Corrections System. So FCS or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, it's the holding center for there. So you go there and you wait till they figure out what prison you can go to. The reason why there's a wait is because they have to make sure that there's no other person in that prison that's going to conflict with you or conflict with your case. So, I was there for like 2 weeks, and then I went on what's called the trip or the bus, where they just take they fill up a school bus that has chains in it. They fill up a school bus to get sent out. So we went to
The beginning scene of The Longest Yard, where they're all
I'd have to
riding
see it again, but probably
to the prison. They're
yeah,
all
but
shackled.
this one was we were going on a bus trip to different prisons. We hit 7 prisons.
Whoa.
So we went from Leavenworth, Kansas to somewhere in St. Louis. Then we went from somewhere in St. Louis, and you got to remember, we're sitting straight up and down.
Yeah, I was about to say, what a
chained.
terrible ride.
Oh, it was the worst. But we were in paper suits and we were chained to the floor.
Jeez.
So like you were stuck like this no matter what, and you could, or
He's
stuck
just
like this no
literally
matter what.
holding his hands right in front of him.
Yeah, and I'm sitting straight up and down at the end of my seat because that's how it was. It's like, it was legitimately a school bus with a chain.
Hope you don't have restless leg syndrome.
Oh yeah, no, it's like it was really bad. But anyway, so we went from Leavenworth, Kansas, which is kind of by Kansas City, to St. Louis area, then to Chicago, then we went all the way to Terre Haute, Indiana. That's where the first night I stayed. So we stayed in Terre Haute, Indiana, which I ended up staying for 2 weeks. Okay, this is considered a medium or a medium max. So it has some of the parts of a medium, some of the parts of a max. The holding cells that we were in were the max part, because we got put in a holding cell because we couldn't get put in the main area. Because what if there was somebody in our case or somebody that would conflict with us and that would hurt us or whatever, then we'd be in a shit show or they'd get in trouble for it. So they put us in SEG, or they put us in pretty much holding cells where there was just 2 bunks, a shitter, and a sink. That's it. And a little desk. But the little desk was like coming out of the wall, and it was part of the wall. It was just concrete that they had come out. That was a part that we could use to like write on or whatever. So I was in there for like a day before all of a sudden they threw somebody else in there. Well, they threw in a shot caller to the Sureños, which is like the biggest southern collective of Mexicans in the prison system. So there's gangs, and then there's, what did I just say? There's southern Mexican, because they're called the Sureños and the Norteños, which is just north and south Mexican. So they would take the gangs, and just whatever one was from the south would all be Sureños. So it was like a bigger gang. So it's like you're already like one of them was something 13. I want to say like SL 13 or ML 13, and it was a Mexican gang. And then so they would be part of the Sureños because they would just match them with, or not match them, but together all those gangs would get together to be bigger or whatever, so that way they go against the blacks or go against the whites or whatever. And so he was the shot caller for the Sureños. Shot caller meant like boss. He would tell people what to do. He called the shots. So he got put into SEG, or got put into the hole because, or he on purpose, he stabbed a dude with a pair of scissors on purpose, it just like in the arm or whatever, but to go into the hole. Well, he went into the hole with 4 fucking balloons in his asshole.
Jesus.
Yeah. So he shit out a balloon full of weed. He shit out a balloon full of heroin. Shit out a balloon full of meth. And then he shitted out a balloon full of fucking notes. I shit you not. Pieces of paper with notes on them. With written letters. But they were so tiny. Because they would take a piece of paper and they would write as tiny as they could. For it to be legible, but yet still use the least amount of paper.
In case it was found.
So, yeah. No. In case so he could stick it up his ass and not be uncomfortable. So, because you gotta remember, these are notes rolled up into, like, tubes, so they look like little tiny pieces of, literally, they just look like a filter for a joint, you know what I mean? Like, they were just rolled up like
I don't know what that looks like.
But you know what I'm talking about. That's just a rolled up piece of paper. So, he starts literally he went into the hole just for this purpose, to pass out drugs and notes to other guys in the hole that have been in the hole way longer.
Jeez.
So because just to either help them out or send notes for when they get back onto the yard, which is just
how. Yeah, man. Wow.
So I saw a dude pull 4 balloons out of his ass. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in prison.
You saw him pull them out?
We're in a cell together, and there's nothing else. You know what I mean? And then so to make sure that I wasn't a snitch or make sure I wasn't a police officer, he made me do some of the heroin that was there. He asked me, did I want to do the heroin or the meth? And I was like, well, I don't want to be fucking twacked out of my mind. I'd rather take the heroin and just lay in my bed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to.
Did you shoot it?
No. He wanted me to shoot it. I said no, because the shooter was
it?
fucking crazy. I snorted it, yeah, but the shooter was crazy. It was a needle on top of a piece of like wax or rubber on top of like a top piece of a syringe, and then on the top of the syringe was a like squeegee. And so like it wasn't like a slider thing, it was like you just squeeze the squeegee thing, it pushes air through this tube, that tube had wax on the end of it with a fucking needle in the end. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not. And I was like, you beat the shit out of me right now, and then I'll just go to another fucking hole. Like, I am not breaking my skin with that. Seriously. So then I ended up snorting a little thing of it, and it was like this big. You know what I mean? It was half that size. It was like that.
He's holding up a piece of paper that's like a flake of a snowflake.
Yeah, or a quarter of that. It's like a big piece of pepper out of like a pepper shaker.
Okay.
That's the size of it. And like a big piece of it, you know what I mean? But like a realistic size of a piece of... Nothing happened. I didn't feel any of it. He kept asking, oh, how is it? Blah, blah, blah.
You're like,
I don't know.
muy bien.
Yeah, I don't know. How was it? You know? So anyway, but he ended up teaching me a lot of shit about prison and how to keep my head up and like, or just, you know what I mean? Like things to think about and do. Plus he had a lot of really cool art books too. He'd been down a long time and he still had a long time to go. I think he'd been down 15 and had another 10 to do.
Oh.
Yeah, it was for, I think, attempted murder, killing somebody, or maybe, I can't remember. I really wish I remember his name, because I swear to God I would send $50 to put on his books, because he helped me out that much.
Wow.
But he just told me a lot about what to do, what to think, what to see, when you see things, keep your mouth shut, do this, keep your head down, stay out of the sight. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that come in here and want to be somebody. Why are you trying to be somebody
Yeah,
in a
just get
prison?
through it.
Yeah, yeah. He goes, you got a little time, just keep your head down and go. He goes, get right, get like work out and stuff like that, and learn if you can. But he goes, read, work out, keep your head down, and like I really thought about that and did that the whole entire time. I literally just played handball, read books. I kind of got into a little bit of a tussle or whatever because just because I needed a little money. I couldn't get any money from anybody on the outside because I was having them help my mom. Plus, I can't have my mom give me money, so I was working a poker table for a guy that was running a poker table. Working it is, we didn't have chips because we're in a prison, so I had to keep track of all the points or numbers on a piece of paper. So it'd be C1, C2, C3, C4, and then I'd be, the 1.2, 0.3 point. Yeah, yeah. No. Like each point was $1, and I would just keep going that way. And so I did that for a long time, made a lot of money because they would tip me out / I would get a percentage of the rake-in. Because the way that they play poker is the same exact way that they play at like Prairie Meadows, where the house always rakes in. Yeah. So I would get a little bit of the house for working for him. So I started sending my money out to my mom.
Dang.
From it, yeah.
Wow.
But I had to get into a little tussle to get some money from a dude that thought he didn't have to pay or whatever. But that was the only thing that I could have potentially got in trouble for there.
Crazy. Here's what I think. I think we should do a two-parter.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm only a quarter of the way in.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's interesting, and it's almost. I'm sure you're gonna get ass raped by.
Well, I haven't ate yet either. I'm gonna grab something to eat on the way home.
Cool. So yeah, we're gonna do a two-parter because we are.
You ain't parting my two.
We are almost at an hour and 45.
And on that note, thank you, John.
Thanks for being here. Check out Turn Up Iowa.
Turn Up Iowa YouTube page. Is that YouTube page?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Facebook or like a Facebook page?
It'll all launch on the same day.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So, you haven't even launched. So you're using this as kind of the launch.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yep. Remember, you have to let me hear it before you put it on.
You bet. You bet. Definitely.
All right, we're out. Thank you.